Welcome everyone to the very first episode of Career HeadTurns, where we're going to be discussing about how you can tell your story by emphasizing on the bold statements. And what I really mean by that is you and only you can tell your story as best as you than anyone else can, regardless of the fact that you might think, who would want to hear me talk about what I've done and why would I be so open about it is actually the true point that they do want to hear everything that you've done. But in order to get to that stage where the story is so fluent and it just gels with your audience or just the employers hiring you, you need to do it with the practice momentum of following these tips and tricks that can probably get you to becoming a better storyteller overall. When it comes to talking and just saying any story, whether it's something you've experienced on a trip or something you've not, or just something you've seen and you've just created a story on like observing another individual, they all come into place of just storytelling that experience. So you've got the details, you've got the information. Now, how do you convince someone with this is a story that you think is worth telling? And this is something folks in the film industry, the design industry constantly have to do, because for them, storytelling is the heart and soul of that industry. Well, you start with first becoming comfortable to talk in just one person format, you and me. So that way, if you're able to make a fluent conversation through that medium, it becomes so much easier to take it up the next step or the next notches to advance it. Just small talk on just topics of something later on the tech, like the recent tech layoffs that have been happening with recent companies, or something around the medical advancements. Whatever you can talk about, just sort of putting that and saying as much as you can within a 5-minute span. So an example would be something like this. Recently all the big tech layoffs that have been happening with Netflix and Peloton and Coinbase has definitely got the industry wondering that what is going to happen with tech roles? Are they trying to filter out ones that are not as relevant to the company, so that way they can focus on the more future of like the metaverse and the bigger scale of what has yet to come? It's really got other folks worried about the fact that if tech roles are not in demand, what will be the next thing in demand? I mean, obviously, there are a lot of them that there is definitely a huge hiring of tech talent, but I guess it just worries the fact of what will make other folks interested in industry collaboration of finding the next pivot towards tech. I did struggle in those few areas, but there were some moments where I kind of was strong and just kind of pitching that small talk to the other individual. And as you get better at that, you slowly make your conversations longer to the sense where you can feel comfortable telling your story. My name is this, and this is what I do. This is what I like. This is something that I've experienced. And also doing that with a lot of passion, because it shows on the face if you're really invested into it. Like, I'm really invested in this episode. Regardless of the fact that I'm saying my others and ums, I am real invested on this topic, So just try to put your entirety of what you are trying to speak on floor. And story and just talking wise, the more you go and you tell others and you kind of go outside within the four walls it will help to improve your speech, the way you talk, the way you express yourself in any sort of format. And all these skills definitely help when you eventually get to driving towards that full-time position or internship that you're looking towards. And the more you practice and the more you go from small talk to 10 minutes talk to 15-minute talks, talking to yourself, talking to someone, finding someone at your school that you can do interviews with, it just tends to get better. Like, practice cannot be emphasized enough, and you are the only one that can take the initiative to put that practice in. No one else can put practice but you. And that one day when you're in an interview, you'll just see the magic happen at that spot because you were practicing your talking or verbal skills. And just like anything, it helps in both career-wise and life-wise. Because life-wise, if you have someone that you know and you make good contact and just connections and keeping in touch with them, it helps in terms that if they think you're a good talker, or they find you interesting and you're able to like gel on certain topics, that can help turn into future career opportunities where he's like, hey, I know this event where you can talk about the advancements of AI in healthcare, and I think you'd be a good speaker for that. Those are the types of opportunities you get from talking, pretty much, and just saying your story, essentially. And so I guess in every episode, I like to, specifically for the Career HeadTurns podcast show, just say one sentence of how storytelling is going to get you to the career you want. Because if you're not able to tell the story of who you are, then how will you be able to tell the story of that company or the business that you'll be working for or you'll be starting to a client? Think about that and really take that into consideration, that telling your story is not going to give you that stage fright, but it's going to help you get over it. So hopefully this came out as helpful advice. And I guess till the next episode, keep practicing, express who you want to be in your career and what keeps you, and just your priorities of what keeps you, and just keep on learning and striving. And till then, stay tuned for the next episode of Career HeadTurns.